Welcome back, friends, to another video. A huge development happened this week. A new bill was introduced into the US Congress called the 32-Hour Workweek Act. So in this video, we're going to talk about what this bill means for your business. This is the one political issue that I talk about on this channel. Every year, I make a video about the 40-hour work week, and this new bill that was introduced into Congress addresses this specific issue. So I saw the news story this week, and I was in shock. Is this really happening? I wonder, do these politicians actually watch my YouTube channel? The bottom line is that workers' rights is an area that the US is so far behind other developed countries around the world. For most US workers, you have no rights. None. Other countries have mandatory vacation, mandatory child leave, mandatory overtime pay, mandatory rules that you cannot receive work phone calls on the weekends. Here in the United States, most people have nothing. I think it's wrong, and I think it needs to change. Now we're in a time where we face the Great Resignation, where so many people are quitting their jobs. What people want from work is not shocking, it's basic rights. The framework that we follow in the United States is called FLSA, or Fair Labor Standards Act. This law came about during the Great Depression. Workers were poor, working conditions were horrible, and people said, "We've had enough. We want to be treated decently at work." So they passed a bill that established a 40-hour work week for all blue-collar workers in America. Any work performed above 40 hours was paid time and a half. Here is the problem. This bill was passed in 1938. A lot has changed in America since then. In 1938, a majority of the workers in the country were covered by this bill. Today, a very small percentage of the country is considered blue-collar workers that have these rights. Everyone else has no rights. Most people watching this video probably work in accounting or finance. You are a white-collar worker. You are probably required to work 60 hours per week, 20 of those hours for free. Just think about that. For 1/3 of your work time, you are not getting paid. And if you complain, you are fired. You have no right to be compensated for your time like blue-collar workers can. Just to show you the numbers, in 1900, only 17.6% of total employment were white-collar workers. In 2002, that number had increased to 59.9%. White-collar workers switched from being a very small part of the workforce to being the majority of Americans. We have a very small class of protected workers, and everyone else is unprotected. Just look at these numbers. This is wrong. It's so unfair that a small group get protections while the majority of Americans do not. I don't have more recent numbers because in 2006, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics declared that the white-collar and blue-collar series are no longer useful categories and stopped compiling the data. Let's take a step back here and look at what's happened over the last century in America. So this bill was introduced in 1938. And since then, business leaders have sat behind their desks and they've said something like this. I have two classes of workers in my business. One class has protections and one class does not. How could I take advantage of this situation? Let me think. Why don't I slowly get rid of my workers with protections? What if I just ship all those jobs off to China? then I will only be left with workers with no rights, and I can force them to work for free. Now, you think I'm joking, but I am telling you, as an accountant, I have had this exact conversation with business leaders. It's disgusting and it's wrong. But look, this is what has happened in America over the last 100 years. There are places in this country where people are not allowed to take vacation or they get fired. The majority of Americans do not have the most basic rights at work. There are a lot of bad business leaders out there, and unless they are forced to follow set labor standards, they will continue to take advantage of workers. That is what FLSA was supposed to do. It was our attempt to say, this is the America that I want to live in. I want to work 40 hours a week, and if I work more than that, I get paid time and a half. I'm excited to say that a law is finally in front of Congress addressing this very issue. There are some problems with this legislation, so we're going to talk about exactly what it says. It is called the 32-Hour Workweek Act, and the point of the bill is to reduce the work week under FLSA from 40 hours to 32 hours. Now, I am happy that anyone is even talking about workers' rights, but I must point out the glaring problem with this bill. FLSA no longer covers the majority of Americans, so most likely this bill will not even affect you. FLSA only covers a small percentage of the workforce that can be classified as blue-collar workers. Someone needs to go talk to these politicians because we don't need a 32-hour work week. Most people would just be happy just getting a 40-hour work week. Here is how you fix the bill. We all just need to be clear and concise about what we want. It is very simple. You just insert one line into the bill. That one line would say, FLSA covers every working American. Everyone should get a 40-hour work week. If you want to work more, that's fine, but you should be paid time and a half. No one should be forced to work for free, which is the harsh reality for the majority of Americans today. To be realistic, no one thinks this bill is going to pass in its current form. It is currently co-sponsored by 16 different members of Congress, all Democrats. We need a bipartisan approach where both Republicans and Democrats sign on to this bill. Here is how we get the bill to pass. We just start talking about it. Just start talking about the idea that you deserve a 40-hour work week. I've talked about this every single year, and I read the comments. I know you guys thought I was crazy, but it is actually happening. There is actually a bill. We can do this. We have done this before in our history. We gave workers' rights to the majority of Americans, and we can do it again. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think that the 40-hour work week is a good idea? Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Let's go out and make some money.